Scoop-a-doo! Hello my friends, how are you today? So in case you haven't heard, and also somehow didn't read the title or thumbnail of this video and simply clicked on it without looking, in which case I would very much appreciate the loyalty, I'm very sad to say Alpha Dream has declared bankruptcy. Alpha Dream is the company behind all of the Mario and Luigi games. Just every single one, ever since Superstar Saga way back on the Game Boy Advance. They've been doing all of them, and yet the company, they've gone under. They've declared bankruptcy. They're not, doesn't seem like they're really a company anymore. There's not a whole lot of news at the time of this recording. Things are still sort of, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna develop more or not, or if this is all we're gonna get. But yeah, they just said, gave a couple vague statements about development costs have just been too high. Just kind of, I don't know, they've just been spending too much on their games and not making enough from their games. Is just, I mean, that's all it seems to be. Is just like, you know, like any other regular company would go under. They're just not making enough money, I guess. And it's weird though. It's weird for a lot of reasons. I don't know a lot about the company. I was not even aware that they were a third-party company, if I'm honest with you. Like, I only know them from Mario and Luigi, and I even looked it up, and they haven't really done much else. They did, like, a couple other games, like, earlier on. They did some Hamtaro games, apparently. Remember Hamtaro? For the most part, they have just been Mario and Luigi. That has been what they have been doing. And I just, yeah, I didn't even know they weren't a Nintendo studio, or at least like a second party company or something like that. But no, they just, I don't know, they do Mario and Luigi, and that's what they do. And the fact that they mostly do Nintendo games makes this even weirder. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if a company was in a situation with Nintendo where they were basically exclusively making first-party titles with Nintendo, for Nintendo, especially starring characters like Mario and Luigi, their flagship series, you would think that they would have always been in a, had an arrangement that worked for both of them. You know what I mean? Like, I would assume that Nintendo would go to them and be like, hey, please make another Mario and Luigi game. How much money do you need? We'll give you the money to do that. I would think that the cost was coming mostly from Nintendo themselves, you know what I mean? Utilizing their services. I would think that Alpha Dream themselves would only enter into an arrangement where they were making enough money with each game that they did. You know what I mean? Like, I would assume they had it all worked out. I didn't think that coming down to just like, I don't know, individual profit was a thing. Instead of Nintendo saying, how much money do you need? Is it a thing where Nintendo has been saying, hey, make a Mario and Luigi game, this is how much money we can give you. And if Alpha Dream didn't go, you know, if they didn't stay within that budget, maybe everything after that was just cutting into their profit, and maybe they just didn't know how to meet that budget. I really don't know. It's just so weird. It's such a strange thing. I wish I knew the inner workings of the company in this arrangement they've had, but I really don't. And it's strange. Nintendo's got so many other, you know, second and third party developers making stuff for them. It's just, you would expect it to just work. It's strange that it doesn't work. And this, of course, does call into question the fate of the Mario and Luigi series. Now, normally, okay, normally I would say in a case like this, the series is fine. Nintendo owns the IP. They can do whatever they want with it. They keep their IPs forever and can do whatever they want with them forever. And they've also got a lot of money and can do whatever they want. So, like, normally I would say, whatever, they'll just find someone else. But I mean, I'll say there's two things here that are at least making me question it. One, if this studio is getting shut down completely, I feel like it would be pretty hard to give the game series to a completely new team when the previous one has been doing it the entire time, you know? Like, I mean, overall, I think Nintendo should experiment more with giving some of their series to other people. Let's just say Alpha Dream had a really, really particular, very specific style and feel for these games, so I feel like giving it to someone else would definitely be an adjustment. I will say it is possible that Nintendo will hire some or all of the team and just bring them to Nintendo? I mean, it's possible that they could hire them and make their own version of Alpha Dream, just kind of in Nintendo, like a first-party one. Like, I'm almost surprised that they didn't just buy them. Just buy Alpha Dreams so they didn't go under. But I don't know. Maybe they just let them go under and they'll just hire some of the team. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe all of the team will move on and Nintendo will have the IP, but if they want someone else to make a Mario and Luigi game, they'll have to hire a whole new team. So anyway, that was the one reason why I'm a little not sure of what's going to happen, because, like, what do you do? It's a much more messy situation now. But here's the main one. So if they weren't making enough money with Mario and Luigi games, and all they were doing was Mario and Luigi games, does that mean that Mario and Luigi itself doesn't make enough money? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's always possible that just the studio itself mismanaged its money. Maybe they just weren't very efficient, so they, you know, they went over budget because they just didn't know how to stay under budget or whatever. They just didn't work very efficiently. Or it's possible that just Mario and Luigi itself just hasn't been making enough money. If that's all they've been doing, and yet that's not been working, then does that mean, does that reflect entirely on the games themselves and just say like, oh, they cost too much money and not enough people are buying them? I really, really don't know. It's very strange. And it's weird that this is coming now because we have reached the point where I have been expecting a new Mario & Luigi game announced basically at any second. Like, they've been consistent with these games ever since Superstar Saga back in the early 2000s, back in the Game Boy Advance. They've been coming out every, you know, what is it, like 3, 4, 5 years, just like at a pretty steady pace. We've had like 5 titles since then. And so I thought, like, okay, they gotta be working on one right now. It's just, we're about due for one. And especially considering the last 2 that we got were remakes. We got a remake of Superstar Saga on the 3DS and a remake of Bowser's Inside Story on the 3DS. And so I'm like, okay, well, one, those are kind of like placeholder titles just to keep the 3DS afloat. But also I assume that they were placeholder titles while we all waited for the next full Mario and Luigi game on the Switch. It just seemed obvious to me, but is it possible that that's not what happened? Is it possible that they were not working on one on Switch at all and they've just been putting all of their resources into these 2 remakes? Because if that's the case, like, did that put them under? Did that make, did these 2 games just not make enough money? Because again, I would think that Nintendo would pay for the games, and if they didn't sell well, that would be on Nintendo. I wouldn't think that any of the lost profits would fall onto the company themselves when they're using Nintendo's IP and everything and going off of Nintendo's orders. I don't really know. And if that's the case, if they were putting everything into those 2 remakes, then that was just a super bad idea. Like, if the failure did not fall completely on Nintendo, then wow, they did the wrong thing. They put 2 remakes on a dying system, on a system that was on its way out already. And those 2 games did not perform super well. I don't have the numbers on me, but like, it was not great. Interest in the 3DS was already going down, Switch was going up, and they were already remakes of games that people own already. Bowser's Inside Story in particular can already be played on a 3DS. With, you know, it's a DS game. It was only 1 generation before, so plenty of people still had it and could still play it on their 3DSs themselves. So it's just, if anything was hinging on those games, I would say that's very strange, because that does not seem like a very good idea. I mean, like, even if they were gonna do the remake thing, can you imagine if they had instead put these games, even if it was like just Superstar Saga with like super nice new graphics on the Switch in HD instead of just on the 3DS, you know, with slightly upgraded graphics? I don't know. Very, very strange. I know I've been saying it a lot, but it is. It's really unexpected. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen to Mario and Luigi. I don't know if they're just gonna give it to another studio completely. Are they gonna hire a bunch of the staff? I don't know. Like I said, it's weird. I'm surprised they didn't just buy them. Just buy them and say, oh, fine, you're our studio now, we'll do it. But maybe that is because of how it just wasn't working. Maybe just they overall and their management just wasn't working out, which is weird because they've been doing this for so long. I would think it was working out. Nintendo has been ordering so many of these games over the years. I assumed it was a tried and true series, but I don't know. Maybe there's other information that we just don't have and that we'll never have. Who knows? Maybe it's some inner working sort of thing. Who knows? It is definitely hard for me to believe that this is the end of Mario and Luigi. It certainly might delay the next Mario and Luigi game. This might be one of those things that makes Nintendo sit on the series for a while, as they love to do with many of their different series. Who knows? Who knows what Nintendo's plan is with the series? I will say, though, if Nintendo didn't want Paper Mario to be an RPG anymore because they didn't want it to compete with their other RPG series, well, maybe give Mario and Luigi a break for a while, bring back the RPG through the Paper Mario. I don't know, whatever. Let me know what you think about this whole weird thing down in the comments. Are you super sad about this? Are you kind of happy? Because are you some of the people who were like, I didn't really like the last couple Mario and Luigi games, maybe give it to someone else? Do you just hate Mario and Luigi in the first place? Whatever it is, let me know down in the comments. I will see you later. You have a great day, and see you later. Also have a great day. Don't forget that part. See you later.